Wherever you are, I hope that both you and your family are healthy and safe. My name's Phil Moreno, Regional Director of West Coast Recruitment at Dickinson College and President-elect of WACAC. And I know we had all planned to be here in Long Beach this month, but instead, we're all here, working from home. In the absence of the annual conference, we've declared May I Am WACAC month, because although we can't be together we are WACAC. We hope that you'll check your email, follow our social media in the coming days, all leading up to our first ever virtual meeting on Thursday, May 28th at 12 p.m. Pacific. In the meantime, we wanted to highlight the culmination of work by our president, Lauren Cook, in regards to WACAC 2025, the strategic planning process that the board began in July of 2019. Therefore, what follows is Lauren's report from her home in San Francisco, WACAC 2025, a strategic plan.
Hello, WACAC membership. It's Lauren Cook, Dean of College and Gap Year Advising at the Jewish Community High School of the Bay in San Francisco, and your current WACAC president. I wish I could be giving you this greeting all in person, especially since our field is so relational, but here we are. So I am making this recording. I'm going to hope to do it in one fell swoop. So if I stumble over some words, there's a car alarm outside, we're going to just keep going, all right? So last month, WACAC leadership made the tough decision to cancel our annual conference that was to be in Long Beach. And at that moment, I started to think about how we might be able to still share the strategic plan process with you that we've been engaged in over the last year. You may remember that last summer, we started the process, and it was to culminate at the conference where we would share the draft plan and then ask for feedback. While we can no longer do that in person, I still want to walk you through the planning process from the last year and then present you with the draft plan. So sit back, relax, and let's talk about WACAC 2025. So we'll start with defining a strategic plan. So strategic planning for dummies defines it as a process referring to a coordinated and systematic process for developing a plan for the overall direction of your endeavor for the purposes of optimizing future potential. So in short, a plan gives us direction. And in looking through organizational records and querying past presidents, it became clear that WACAC has not had an organization-wide strategic plan in the last few years, and maybe ever. So knowing our size, our carefully built resources, and our very important mission, it seemed time to articulate a formal direction. Let's also review that mission. So this is the mission statement for Western. We support and advance the work of counseling and enrollment professionals from California and Nevada as they help all students realize their full potential, with emphasis on freshmen and transfer transitions to higher education and attention to access and equity for all students. So clearly, any good strategic plan will align with and echo the mission statement. So here's a reminder on the timeline that we set up last year. So in the summer, at the board's executive retreat in San Jose, we established this plan to have strategic planning be a priority for this year. In the fall, we launched a comprehensive survey to the membership that went out and was open throughout the month of October. And then we spent part of the winter analyzing results, looking at what the major themes were, and then following up with certain stakeholders like the past president group and the entire executive board. This spring, we've been developing a draft plan, and now here we are sharing it, and then we'll hope to collect some feedback. The goal is to publish a final strategic plan this summer so that the board for 2021 can then be working with this plan for the next 5 years. So let's talk about the survey from October and the responses. So who responded? We had just over 400 members respond, and 90% were from California, a little more than 5% from Nevada, and a little under 5% from outside the region. And that mirrors relatively the makeup of the membership in terms of location and where folks are based. 92% have been in the field for more than 3 years. 70% have been members of WACAC for more than 3 years. And then there was pretty good representation across all of the professional categories that make up WACAC. And you can see in the graphic what all of those are. So we felt confident that those who had responded had a stake in California and Nevada. They had some exposure to the field and to the organization. And so these responses would be relatively informed on the work that we do. It was also important to the board that respondents represent our diverse region accurately. And so you'll see the responses here in terms of social identity. You'll note that the race and ethnicity numbers do not add up to 100%. And that's because we left all the categories open for folks to self-identify as they saw fit. Also note that the majority of WACAC members skew white and skew female. And so that's also true for our national organization for NACAC. And so these results align with that. So let's move on now to what the survey indicates that we're doing well. So almost everyone would recommend WACAC membership to a colleague, which is awesome. And 75% believe that we're providing programming and services that are consistent with our mission, which is great. And it looks like radical change is not necessary for the organization. So that's a relief. We also got really high marks for professional development, which fortunately is our largest offering. So when you think about the conference, Share, Learn, Connect, those one-day drive-in programs, district directions, Leadership Development Institute, that's the bulk of what WACAC does. And 80% feel that our PD is relevant and that we offer a variety of things. And a majority believe that we should devote more resources to professional development, which I thought was interesting. And then my favorite question was question 16, the free-form, open-ended, please tell us what we should know question. And thanks to the folks at Caltech, especially Nikki Chun and one of her student workers, they were able to quantify that for us, put them into big categories, name them, and tell us how often these things were commented on. And the most common theme and category was love and appreciation for WACAC. So really grateful for that. Okay, so it's great to be complimented, but obviously we sent the survey out because we need to know what we need to work on. So what needs work? Increasing support and resources. This was the most common theme for all four of these categories: community-based organizations, pretty much Nevada writ large, public school counselors, and transfer students and the counselors that serve them. Then we also had a lot of feedback around creating a more welcoming and effective community for independent educational consultants. And they make up in any given year anywhere between 15 to 20% of our membership. So it's a really important category. We also need to do a better job clarifying the path to WACAC involvement and leadership. We need to educate members on the budget and fiscal priorities. A very common answer to questions around the budget and fiscal priorities was unsure, don't know. And so that let us know that we need to do a better job explaining what's happening in those areas. And then obviously increasing equity and access work for colleagues is also quite important given the diversity in our region. So this is all great feedback. Not much of it was a surprise or new, but having it move from sort of anecdotal information like member to member murmuring into actual data has been incredibly useful. And it's already informed some of the work of the board this year. So after collecting survey results and compiling them, we queried the past presidents again for some additional detail and ideas, trying to unpack some of these things a little bit more. And the executive board had a day-long retreat in December where we spent some of the time on strategic planning, processing. We started brainstorming specific actions and initiatives we could pursue to meet the concerns that I've just mentioned. And we also had conversations around some of the more behind the scenes issues, those are listed here, that might also need to be wrapped into the plan. So how we're using technology, what services can we let go of, what things should we be adding, like Zoom, the administrative framework that might need some tweaking. What are our fiduciary risks? We have the same revenue model as NACAC, and they're plateauing a little bit in terms of the budget, and so we need to be keeping an eye on that. Crisis management, that's been the theme of my presidency. The future of the Code of Ethics and Professional Practices, especially in our post-DOJ inquiry world. What kind of partnerships we currently have with other organizations and what we really should be developing and cultivating. And then, of course, changes to membership. I want to remind everyone that there was a plot twist this fall. Last July 1, 2019, we were the first affiliate, and I'm very proud of this, to make membership free to public school counselors. And thanks to the good recruitment and advertising work from our public school ad hoc and our inter-association committees, WACAC went from 200 some public school counselors last year in the 18-19 year to 1,315 as of today. So you'll see on this chart that public school counselors, public high schools now make up 43% of our membership, which in many ways fundamentally changes our organization and obviously needs to be wrapped into the strategic plan. And some of this came out in the membership survey, but because it was happening as that survey was out, we wanted to make sure not to miss this point, in any way. So we took all this data, kind of put it in a blender, we poured out the contents into 3 big buckets and then labeled those buckets with themes. So if you're at home, now's the time where you can do a drum roll on the table. Here is the themes for WACAC 2025 and our new logo for the strategic plan, not for the organization. So these 3 big themes: engage, that is obviously at the heart of our work, the way that we work with students, the way we work with each other. Influence, we want to be a voice for ethical, equitable college admission, especially in the landscape we're currently in. And then we got to evolve. We need to stay relevant, especially as the sand keeps kind of shifting under us right now. So we hope these themes both reflect our current work and provide inspiration for the future. And within each theme, we have crafted some more specific goals to define what we mean by engage, influence, and evolve. So you'll see here a lot more text. So this flyer is now available for download on our website and in the email, I believe, that was sent to you that has the link for this video in it. And we encourage you to review this as you have the chance. We feel that each of these goals reflect some aspect of our mission, survey feedback, and or priorities identified by the board to help move the organization forward. The board is also working on specific action items, and if the draft plan, moves forward, if y'all are good with this, we want to have action items for each of these goals so that we truly have a roadmap to living these themes. So for example, engage, the first theme, the second goal within it is effectively articulate the value of membership. There's a lot of ways we could do this, but a couple of the ones we have talked about already are, of course, revitalizing that WACAC profile that's available on our website. We hand it out at places where we are looking for more members, when we're doing legislative advocacy, so really making that as strong and effective as possible. Consistently offering an orientation to WACAC, to have this kind of session at all SLCs in the annual conference. And we actually started that this spring with the 3 SLCs that ran before everything got shut down. And then to strengthen our communication flow, welcoming new members. And we experimented with this in sort of one-off ways with the new public school counselor members this fall to send them some longer follow-up emails sort of explaining what they could get out of this free membership. But we'd like to really operationalize that and have it be a standard part of our practice. So this is just some example of what we'll be doing with each of the themes and the goals. So friends, that's the review of the strategic planning process from 2019 to 2020. We're excited about this draft plan and would love to hear your feedback. We'll have an open comment period through June 15th. And hope that you will be in touch with compliments, with criticisms, both, whatever makes sense to you. And the board will review this summer and then finalize a plan. So there is my contact information. Want to thank you so much for watching. If you have made it to the end of this video, you are truly a diehard WACAC member, and my hat is off to you. And I hope to see you on May 28th at noon for our virtual WACAC meeting for I Am WACAC Day.